Hi everyone, today I wanted to do something a little bit different to what else I've seen on Booktube at the moment, and my main focus today is books that I feel that are underappreciated on Booktube. Now don't get me wrong, there are loads of fabulous books out there. I mean, there's almost too many fabulous books out there, but it just means how lucky we are to have so many great books to read. But these are the books that I feel get overlooked quite a bit on Booktube, or even not really mentioned that much. It might be I'm not looking in the right corners of Booktube, and if you know people who also appreciate these book series, let me know. Leave links to their channels down below, or if it's your channel, leave a link down below. That'd be great. But I'm just going to highlight some of the books that I feel are underappreciated on Booktube. These are not all YA books. I'm going to state that clearly. And they are not all fantasy. So there we go. So first up, I'm going to start up with the classic. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series and the Dirk Gently books. All written by Douglas Adams, who, if you don't know, was a very different type of comedy writer who sort of fell into writing and has the famous quote, "He loves the sound that deadlines make as they whoosh past your head," or badly paraphrased. Anyway, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a trilogy in 5, 4, 3, 6 parts, depending how you count it. I'm going with the 5. These are the ones that Douglas actually wrote himself. So we have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. This is a well-known radio series first broadcast on the BBC, and if you just want some genius comedy sci-fi, go and listen to that series because it's absolutely bonkers. They were then made into book and a TV show, also produced by the BBC in the early 80s. So think very dodgy special effects and wobbly sets. And then obviously we have a film version, which some people like, some people don't. I like it. It embodies everything that is in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, for me anyway. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy follows Arthur Dent, an average-sized human male, who starts off the book with his own home being demolished to make way for a bypass. And ironically, the Earth is then demolished to make way for a hyperspatial bypass. And so we follow Arthur Dent and his alien mate Ford Prefect as they hitchhike around the galaxy and the universe and time itself. And they're great fun and completely bonkers. Then there's the Dirk Gently series, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul. This is a duology, and if you want completely off-the-scale strangeness, then yeah, these are the books to go for. They are loosely crime. Dirk Gently is obviously a detective. However, he is a holistic detective. And his rule is everything is connected. This again has been made into a TV series, both by the BBC and over in America. I've just binge watched season 1 of the American version of Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and I have to say, I absolutely adored it. If anything got what the scattiness of these books are, it was that series, although it's completely bonkers and off-the-wall weird. I loved it to pieces. But if you want something a little bit different, a little bit strange, slightly loosely crime, but just about anything else you can have, then this is the duology to read. This is part of the Clockwork Century series written by Sherry Priest. I have just done an overview of the series, which the video will be posted up shortly before this one. But this follows various characters through the American Civil War and alternative history, and it's mildly steampunky with dirigibles and clockwork mechanisms and things like that. And it has zombies in it as well. So if you're looking for an alternative history / zombie series, please check out the Clockwork Century books. Do go and look at the video that I loosely discussed this series without any spoilers, because I don't like giving away spoilers. That'll give you some heads up of what to expect from it. There's this series, the Skullduggery Pleasant series, which we've just started reading. This is book 1, obviously, Skullduggery Pleasant. We're currently on book 2, and these are only the first 6 books, plus the first of the spin-off with Tanya Flo. These are a YA series, or young YA series, I'd say 12, 13-year-old-ish is what it's aimed for. Paranormal slash horror slash supernatural series following Skullduggery Pleasant, who is a detective, and Stephanie, a girl who has suddenly found herself wrapped up in this world that's just behind the corner of the streets of Dublin. And she discovers the world of magic, mayhem, evil beings, and is thrown headfirst into it. I love these books because of the sarcasm between our 2 main characters. They just bounce off each other beautifully. The wit on these pages is great, and it's really nice to have a partnership where they just click and get on with each other. The supporting cast in these books are also particularly strong. Tanya Flo is a very intriguing character, and I'm looking forward to reading more about her. But yeah, if you want badass females, Tanya, I think, is the way to go. But yeah, do check out Skullduggery Pleasant, particularly if you're not sure what to read after reading Harry Potter. This might be the next step for you. Regular viewers will know about this series. This is the Expanse series, written by James S.A. Corey, and it starts off with book 1, Leviathan Wakes. This is currently being made into a TV series via Sci-Fi. Seasons 1 and 2 are out and about. They're working on season 3. And yeah, I love the show so much. There are videos where I've talked about it, so I'm not going to carry on with that. But this is a epic sci-fi series written in our not too distant future, where we have colonised Mars and the Moon, and we've moved into the asteroid belt, and the human race is made up of Earthers, Martians and Belters. And as usual, we're at each other's throats. We can't trust each other. We just haven't learnt to be nice yet. And this series follows the struggles, political and military struggles between the 3 groups of humans, and also this lovely little nasty thing called a proto-molecule, which really does some hideous stuff and is pretty scary, to be honest. So yeah, it is likened to Game of Thrones, but I'm going to say it straight up, this is better than Game of Thrones. The world building is pretty thorough, the characters are all really strong, and it doesn't wobble quite as badly as I think Game of Thrones does. It's a very tight-knit story, and we get to see it from all sides as well, which is really good. So I highly recommend The Expanses if you want some good, proper sci-fi stuff, and do go and check out the show, because they've totally got the science on the head there, which is fabulous. I now want to show you this selection of books. These are all from the Discworld collection by Terry Pratchett. There is a spin-off YA series featuring Tiffany Aching. This is book 2 in the series, A Hatful of Sky, because I just love the cover. And there are 5 books in that series. Tiffany Aching is a young girl who discovers she's actually a witch. But because she lives in the chalk, she's not supposed to be a witch. So it follows her progression to becoming a fully fledged witch, which is great. And then you've got the main Discworld books itself. So I've picked up Reaper Man, which is a death book. Small Gods, which is all about the gods. Night Watch, which is a guard's story. And Going Postal. This is a Moist von Litwick story. And the Discworld is brilliant because it is a world that it sits on the back of 4 elephants that stand on the back of the great turtle Achuin, and it floats around in space. And it's a very clever satire at our own world, and many of the books poke fun at what's going on at the time they were written in our own society. So Going Postal is all about the post office. There's Making Money, which is all about the banks. Raising Steam is about the era of trains. And it's kind of like a medieval / Victorian era version of Earth, but with magic and werewolves and vampires and witches and, you know, all the usual fantasy stuff. But they're very, very clever, very witty and very touching in places. And I would highly recommend them. Certainly the death stories are some of my favourite, starting off with Mort, Reaper Man, Hogfather. And they're just very entertaining stories, and I wish more people would read them. Then there's Retribution Falls. These are written by Chris Wooding. Retribution Falls, The Black Lung Captain. It was the only one we had to buy because we couldn't get it in the library. The Iron Jackal, and Ace of Skulls. These are the tales of the Ketty J series, a misfit crew of criminals, outcasts, and very dodgy people who find themselves in situations that they really should not be in. They are probably the most unluckiest group of people I've read about for a long time. And the whole series is a mixture of steampunk, Firefly, and it's great fun. If you want sort of classic piratey, adventure, fantasy style, I really recommend these books. There's only 4 in the series that I'm aware of. I really wish he would write more because I fell in love with the Ketty J series. Their crew is just amazing. And they really do have a lot of appeal to them. They're sort of classic adventure with the political intrigue, the war aspect to them, the conflicts going on between different races in their world, and their Indiana Jones moments, treasure seeking. They are so entertaining as well. The characters do bounce off each other. They're not two-dimensional. These guys have their own issues, have their own conflicts, their own personal demons, and they are all very sympathetic in various degrees. And so I would really like more people to read these books because they so deserve it. And then finally, there's this series. This is the Time Riders series, written by Alex Scarrow. If you think that name sounds familiar, it's because his brother Simon Scarrow writes all the big Roman historical books. The Time Riders, think alternative futures past, time travel-y, crime, adventure. Oh, I don't know, this does so much. This is such a good series and very underrated. It's in the YA department, and so I would check it out, but it goes a lot darker than you think it would, and it's very cleverly got an arc throughout the books, which it plays some degree to start off with and then is drawn in more as things develop and progress and headlong. The second book is probably a really good one for everybody. Day of the Predator. This is dinosaur based, which is pretty cool. We follow a trio of young kids who have all been rescued from certain death in their own timelines. They are put into a secret base in time just before the Twin Towers are brought down, because who's going to go looking for a secret time travelling base when the Twin Towers are falling to the ground and all the chaos that ensues from that? Their job is to fix history, to keep it on the straight and narrow as it's known, and to make sure that people don't meddle with it. There's more to it than that, but I'm not telling you any more because it would spoil the overall story. So we do the Robin Hood thing, alternative American Civil War, the Romans, Victorian London, pirates, my favourite book, Mayan ancient history, and the conclusion, the Infinity Cage. Yeah, this does wrap things up very nicely. There is going to be a 10th Time Rider book coming out. Alex is currently writing it as I speak, so looking forward to that. So those are some of the underappreciated books on Booktube that I want to just draw your attention to. Like I say, there's just about something here for everybody. There's all sorts of genres and also YA as well as adult series. I like to keep a good variety of books on my bookcase. Thank you very much for watching. There's no book bloggers this video. I'll do that next time. Please follow me on all social media, links down below, Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter. Please like this video if you agree with what I'm saying, or please comment, let me know your thoughts, any underappreciated books that I think I should be looking at or that might already be on my shelf already. And thank you very much for watching and happy reading, everyone. Bye.